10 then. Great. Can we approve the minutes from May 4th?
I move to approve them.
Any
I
second?
second.
And
Great.
everybody, yeah, that's unanimous. Okay.
Okay. So you
So,
sent these questions and answers. That was great.
yeah, so I figured we could, I just would like to get your feedback on them, and if there were other questions that that came to your mind that could potentially be asked of us, just to be prepared. I like to over prepare for things like this.
That was a great list, Barbara. I
Oh, thank
applaud
you.
your thinking ahead like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But wait a minute, and number one,
Mhm.
1A2,
Mm-hmm.
you say you have the number, you had 18? So-
The maximum that we would be able to go up to, oh, wait a second, that's probably a typo. So we had said we were gonna have 12 and we could expand it. So, I will edit that. Thank you.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if you meant 18 or 8.
Oh, well, I meant 18, because I must have, as I was doing it, I was thinking that we were going from 8 up to 18 as opposed to 8 up to 12. So we're being conservative. I think that's what we can definitely say, with room to expand
Okay,
more. But thank you, because that's right. That is incorrect. Okay,
okay.
okay.
Are we going down the list of questions right now? Are you?
Sure. Does that
suggesting
make
we just
sense?
go
Okay,
through it?
Yeah,
okay, so
You want to just read them? Because I don't have it up in
sure.
front of.
Okay, the first question was, why start with 8 beds? How do we know how many beds are needed? And I did a little bit of research. Most places don't say how many beds they have. So Northampton was one of the few that did say how many they have.
Mm.
And when I looked on sites that talk about how to start a community garden, none of them said anything about how many beds or how to plan for the number of beds. But we do know from Northampton that 1% of the population seems to be, that's what they have. And we know from Pelham that these start off slowly. So
Yeah, they started with 8. They started
yeah.
making 8 available. They didn't get 8, but they
Okay.
started with 8.
Can
Yeah.
I make one suggestion?
Mhm.
Just knowing this town, having lived here for 40 whatever years, I think too many comparisons to Northampton is going to ring some,
Okay,
so I think the better to compare to Pelham, Montague, Wendell, little towns like ours. Did you have the same thought, Christine?
It's just, I know that the people here are going to be asking probably crazy questions that we can't anticipate. They're going to ask the same question that somebody else asked a half hour ago because they didn't listen to the, hopefully this doesn't go on for a half hour. But you know how it is. I mean, whenever you get a group of people together, it's not just this town.
Yeah.
But Northampton, would be like comparing to
Sort of
ourselves to New York City.
Yeah, sort of a red flag, kind of like, oh,
Okay.
Northampton, there are people in town who just don't like Northampton at all.
okay.
And I think using that, I mean, I know we got our information and it was helpful to have that. And I think it's fine if you do it once, but I wouldn't repeat it more than once about.
Yeah, we could just say the surrounding towns.
Surrounding towns, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I
Mhm.
think,
That sounds
leave it
perfect.
sort of vague of.
Yeah, vague. That's what I wrote on here. Keep this vague, not Northampton.
And if
Okay.
somebody asks, we can say, doesn't Wendell have them too?
I'm not sure. I can check Wendell, and I drove past. Where was I today that I drove past?
Monica?
Oh, in Granby, I think.
Granby.
Yeah, Granby.
that-
Yeah, that's right. We talked to them.
I just think
Oh, I was in South Hadley. That's where I saw it. A very
Okay.
pretty one. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'll just keep it vague.
keep it
And-
vague.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
somebody asks specifically, then we can sort of,
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think even if someone were to ask specifically, we've done our homework and we really have to go, they don't say. I mean, that's really just not something, it's not information that's provided. But we did hear back from 13 people, 18 people. Oh, that was the 18. That's where the 18 came
that's
from.
where the 18.
It was the 13 who were
Got it.
interested and the 5 who were unsure.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
so, so the number of people interested is
Got it.
It's about 1% of the population, which is what we can expect based on the evidence available.
Okay.
And if someone asks what evidence, I'll say, so glad you asked, and then give an obfuscating response.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
that's
right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The water one, I think we're all set on. I think
Yeah.
something we might want to keep track of over the course of this summer is how much rain there is.
Yeah.
And so I think that we just kind of keep track of that.
Mm.
And then Pelham did add an additional tank. We can always add an additional tank if we need to.
We got 3¼ inches over the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Mm.
So here's another thing, I think maybe mentioning that you had a thing in there about that's a lot of money. And I think, mentioning that getting the tanks is going to be expensive. There'll be really big tanks. Like there might be a question about,
Yeah, well, the tank, I forget, yeah, that is in the budget, and I really shopped around for that,
mhm.
on the tanks. What Pelham uses are old tanks from sugaring. So I called someone I know who runs a sugar house, and she said new ones are extremely expensive, and there really are some problems just with keeping them clean. So she actually would not have recommended that at
Mm.
all. Let's see, where was the,
Hmm.
see, I'm not seeing the one with the breakdown, but I know I have it here somewhere. Oh, here we go. The gravity fed tank was 1,000 gallons. I guess $850. So it is a big, it is a big expense, which is likely why Pelham decided to go with.
It's not that big of an expense, $850.
No, it's not. It's less. Yeah, it's one of the
It doesn't
larger
seem bad to
expenses.
me.
That, the picnic table. Well, no, that's not true. The compost soil, that's going to be the biggest expense.
Right. I
But,
mean, the
yeah.
tank's gonna last us. Is it a metal tank or?
No, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and look at where I got the information about the water tank.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna last us more than a couple of years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this will last for quite a while.
Yeah, so I think $850 isn't so bad.
Yeah. And then I just put in consider rain capture systems because we had talked about trying to capture water running off of the solar panel
Yep.
steps. So, these are things that we can be exploring over the course of this coming year, but those are still going to be question marks about whether, how often they have to fill it and how much additional water we might be able to get from a rain capture system.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Anything else on the water? I'll get more information on the tank. So if somebody asks exactly what the tank is made of, I can answer them.
Okay. No,
Okay, that's good.
Good.
Okay.
Let's go on.
Okay, the next question is why aren't there any bylaws at this point? And I'm just emphasizing that it's a community garden and the bylaws need to reflect the interests of the people involved, but that there are also a lot of templates out there, so we don't need to start with, we can start with a template that has information about from different community gardens, and then use that as a base once people have signed up for the gardens. If you think it would be helpful, which was the thing in red, I can easily pull together a table just saying, here are some of the things that are commonly found in the bylaws for community gardens. If
I don't
anyone's
think
likely,
people will care about
they're not
that.
going to care about
Yeah,
that.
I don't think this question will come up, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just in case, we'll be ready.
Yep.
I mean, the only thing they might ask is like, who's going to make the decisions? Are there going to
Right.
be
charge.
sort
Yeah.
of guidelines
gonna
and
be
who's
in
going to
charge?
decide them?
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be under our auspices, I think.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna be like, who's gonna take care of these gardens? Who's gonna make, who's gonna be, make sure that, they don't look like crap or,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think partly that some of that will be in the bylaws because it would specify what,
Mhm.
how people need to take care of their plots.
yeah.
And also I noticed I can't remember now which town they have like just a committee that's made up of people who have
Mhm.
gardens there, and they sort of take care of and look over things. So having some kind of,
Governing committee, yeah.
yeah, governing
Mhm.
committee would
Yeah.
probably be a
Yeah.
good idea.
The fee thing looks fine to me.
Okay,
Again, we don't
good.
have to mention Northampton. We can just say, are there any towns in our vicinity that charge something other than 25? Pelham was 25.
Yeah, oh, Pelham's 25, okay. Yeah,
And we
I
could
did not.
also say sliding scale too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, if, I don't want
Right.
somebody not to have a plot because they feel like
me
they
too.
can't
Yeah,
afford it.
Yeah, yeah, we can say around 25 sliding scale. Did you come upon any towns that charged 50, that asked for
well,
50?
nope, it's all $25.
Mhm.
And I
Yes, we,
bet, you know, we could also have at a sliding scale being that you provide more sweat labor.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. That's a good idea.
yeah. So the labor thing, that might be asked, why so much and all
Mhm.
that.
yeah, I would ask if I was sitting there.
Do
I
we-
don't
do
really
we
know
wanna-
how.
Do we want to say we could, you know, we will have some work days in the fall or something, and if then, you
Mhm.
know, to offset some of those costs, and if
Hmm,
people show up, that might not cost as much for the
You
labor.
That's good, yeah,
Mhm.
But
Good.
the reality is, keep in mind that this money is already sitting in a pot and
Right.
can't be used for anything else.
Mhm.
yeah,
And it's sitting there. So I
Yeah.
think most people are not going to be so worried about the cost
Mhm.
because it's sitting there. I mean, look at how
Mhm.
much money we allocated for fixing the basement of Old Town Hall, and it never got
Right.
fixed. It
And
never
then what
got-
happened to that money?
it's sitting there
It's still there. It didn't go back into another fund.
because because the committee, the preservation committee, did not write up a contract that said if you don't use it by this date, it
Mhm.
reverts back. So it just sits there in this pot.
Yeah.
So I think that that's not as important. And we can stress that if we don't use that much money, that it goes back. It will be a contract with the Community Preservation Committee,
Mhm.
and whatever we don't use goes back.
Right. Right.
mhm,
That's good.
I think there's something about that in the proposal about having a 3-year contract
Yep.
them for this
Yep.
money. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah. And it's very possible that we will want to move some of that money. If it turns out that labor is less, we might want to use that to purchase another water tank. We
Right.
will want to use some of that money to purchase more loam and compost to build more beds. So it's, we put it in as labor because we really did not know exactly. We knew that there was a lot of labor involved. We don't know exactly how much it'll cost, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of move some of that money to another line item. And presumably one can move money with the written request between line items in a budget. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
So we'll be okay with that one. Why is money being spent on something that will only be used by a small fraction of the population? And I put third the money part, which is it's restricted. It's not like you can take this money and go spend it on something else.
Yep.
It does increase recreational opportunities for Shutesbury residents.
Mhm.
Our research shows that there are many tangible benefits. And then I gave different examples of benefits that reach out beyond the gardeners. So for example, the school, a librarian, the picnic table sitting there, for people to come and meet. And actually I found one town that specifically talked about that people have kind of used it as a gathering place.
Mhm.
So those are the questions that came to my mind. Did anything else come up that you think somebody might ask? We can prepare for, Christine, recognizing that there will clearly be questions that we could not possibly anticipate.
They could
I
ask,
mean-
why is this recreation?
Yeah.
You know, why is the recreation committee doing this and not the gardening committee, or, you know, I know Becky Torres asked me that question when we first started talking about this.
Mhm.
And, I think that it's recreation in the fact that it's exercise,
Mhm.
and it's also will bring people together.
Yeah, and intergenerational, the school. Well,
Right.
the school's a different thing. School's okay, a different thing. But the families can go there, garden with each other. I mean, we'll see. We don't know if it's gonna happen, but
Right.
We're happy to share the share the wealth of the overseeing of it, but I mean, why would we now?
Right.
Well, didn't the Community Preservation Act say that recreational use includes the use of land for community gardens? Okay,
Yeah.
well then, so it's
Yep.
not really something that we need to define.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And we could mention that part of,
Yeah.
and I think you did say something, didn't you?
Mhm.
And yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was good.
We could have the annual tomato toss.
Right. Annual tomato toss. We could toss at bad politicians,
Yeah.
Save your rotten vegetables.
rotten tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
rotten-
I don't think we need to bring this up at this point, but some towns, they have activities that happen at the garden. They'll have musicians come and play. You know, they
Right.
have, because it's a pretty spot. The one I drove by, I almost drove off the road in South Hadley. It was so pretty.
Yeah.
It was just this really, really lovely. I'm going to drive by and look at it again, but it was just a really lovely space.
Mhm.
Barbara,
So,
what road is that on in South Hadley?
I think it's on 47 because I was driving
Okay.
home via 47 and I saw it on the
Uh-huh.
left-hand side of the road just shortly after I came out of South Hadley.
Oh, so I must have driven past it many times.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I sure have.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It is very,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna win pretty awards, but
no, we don't care. We're Shutesbury.
yeah, it's wooded.
Any other questions that we should be prepared for here?
No.
And what do we have? What does the warrant say? What does the thing on the warrant say?
I'll
I don't
check.
know.
I'll check.
What's the wording on the warrant of what?
Hang on.
And are we handing out anything?
That's a good question.
You know, people often, I don't know how it's done now with a digital, do people want papers? I don't think there were a lot of papers last year because we were sort of in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
And paper transfer of germs or whatever, germs being transferred through paper, but that seems to have gone away, that fear.
This is going to be in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
gonna be outside again.
Right.
I mean, given, and which this is another item that we'll have to discuss when we're done with this, which is the mowing. But given that the area will be mowed and we'll have markers with, I forget the wording, with some decoration courtesy BZ, we'll be able to, people can go and actually see it. So I'm not sure, I mean, we could certainly provide like a little map of what the garden is going to look like. But
Could we get them to mow it before town meeting?
well, that was one of my questions, is who do I call about that? Because presumably they're going to be mowing that before town meeting anyway, because with this rain, the grass is going to grow.
I think that's Tim.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how do I've never called.
Steve Sullivan is who you should probably want to talk to about that,
Okay.
would be
And
my
his-
guess.
Okay, and his number will be on the town.
No, because he's just part of the
Road crew.
road crew. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
might call Tim and just say, can Steve mow it by,
Yeah. And Tim is just the highway department.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can find out when the mowing is gonna happen and then be there to direct to where the garden's gonna be, which means before that, we need to go and put stakes and just showing where the garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or we could meet them up there at sometime
Yeah,
too,
okay.
and
Okay,
just show
so
them where it
here's-
is.
Here's the article. It's Article 13. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $20,000 from the Open Space Recreation Fund balance to construct a fenced-in community garden in Shutesbury on unused land behind the town hall. The garden will originally support 8 plots of garden space for town residents and is potentially expandable to 20 plots. That's it.
Okay,
Okay. I did think there'll definitely be some questions,
mhm,
but maybe not. People like to get out. If it's depends if it's a beautiful day or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 13's pretty early in the game too. I wonder how many articles are there,
Total.
you know?
Yeah, I'm looking. Let's see. 19, 20, 22. The dog licensing and all that crap is 25. 26.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So we're halfway through, but let's see, where are we
What's in front of us?
okay, let's see. In front of us are the other community preservations are just before us. Stabilization is just before us. The elementary school HVAC system. The school roof is number 6.
That'll
That's-
have some discussion.
That's $300,000. Hello.
Are they putting solar on the roof when they do that?
I think they're making it solar ready.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. And the budget is Article 4.
Oh,
Yeah, so the budget is Article 4 and we're Article 13. We are the last real capital. We're the last real money. Yeah, because the rest of it, well, there's right after us is the zoning board.
oh, about the solar?
Administrative, blah, blah, blah. To see if the town will vote to amend the town of Shutesbury zoning bylaw by deleting section 9.3B and inserting the following new section after the existing section 10.3. I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. There's no,
I think that's the solar.
it might be the solar, but that's zoning. And then there's planning board.
Oh, that's a planning board is gonna be they're after us though, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So people are going to be really into the zoning and planning. Yeah. They're not going to be interested in our stuff.
No, that's good. You're right. They'll want to just zip through it, I think.
We're between the budget and zoning and planning. So yeah, they're not going to be interested in us at all because it's money that's already sitting there.
Right.
okay, good.
I bet you it'll just go right
Mm.
by.
Yeah,
Good.
okay, good.
Well, it's like carrying an umbrella when you think it's gonna rain.
Yeah,
If I carry the umbrella, it doesn't rain. If I
right.
anticipate as many questions as possible, they don't get asked.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And,
like that thing we prepared to go to the meeting and then they
They said, oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Right, and we all had our little presentations together and we were all, yeah, so that was good. It was,
Good.
okay. Oh, don't want to ask us any questions? Okay.
Well, I think the one thing that we should have is a sketch of the budget to say where we're going to spend this $20,000.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
Yeah, because $20,000 for a garden for 8 people, it's like, Jesus Christ, what are you talking about? And we say, well, fencing is going to cost this much. The water tank's going to cost this much, and just go on from there.
Right. And the labor is a big part of the cost
Yeah.
too.
yes. All right, well, maybe what I could do is put together a sheet that has, just sort of a statement across the top that just says kind of what this is, the overview of the budget, without getting into too much detail. If anyone wants to ask, they can. And then a drawing showing what it's, not what it's going to look like, but just a map of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I won't know where the path is going to go down towards it, but that should provide enough information. And then anybody can just look behind them and see where the plots are going to be.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. Okay.
Thank you, Barbara, for all that work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Oh.
thank you. That's great.
I love
The only other,
anticipating questions.
sorry.
No, I just was
The
saying,
only-
I love anticipating questions.
The only other thing that had been on our agenda, but I don't know if Elaine actually did this,
Mm.
was the the Franklin County pollinator plan.
I did go.
You
Oh, great.
went?
Yeah, so just an update would be, yeah, great.
What's my update? My update is that there is a plan that, hold on, let me see. There's this whole plan, the pollinator corridor. There are eight towns in Franklin County that are a part of it. And we didn't get into it because I guess they didn't know that we had enough people and we weren't aware of it and all that. But there is money available to try to map out your pollinator corridor and to work with UMass Extension.
Mm.
There's some really interesting, I'm trying to open it up here.
Could we do anything with that around the edge of the garden? Like,
There's lots of pollinator information. There's a lot of stuff. Actually, UMass has a whole institute on pollinator corridors. They also have pollinator friendly solar projects that they're talking about, but hey, we're not going to get into that. But they would be very happy to help us and to work with us and to for the group and
Cool.
for next year.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'd be really into that. I mean, there already are solar panels behind town hall. We could plant some pollinator plants under those,
Mhm.
and maintain those, make those.
Yeah,
You
we
know.
could, I mean, we could work with the gardening club and do that too, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's another educational opportunity with the community gardens, because I think that people from the Native Plant Trust would be very happy to come in and talk about what kind of native pollinators could be could be planted in that field and around the outside. So I think that that's another benefit of the community garden being located where it is.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So what would we need to do, Elaine, at this point? Is there any step that needs to be taken with them and to say, yes, we're interested, and to then begin to prepare to apply for whatever the money is or help is?
I'm looking at what they talked, I got a whole bunch of information. I can send it to you guys. All the information, I'm looking for it now. I kind of lost track of everything this week. Hold
Gee,
on.
that's surprising.
Yeah, really.
I'm trying to even remember when it was. It was last week, wasn't it?
I think it was the week before, because last week I was gone and I had seen the email before I got back. Before I left.
Okay, here it is. I am going to send it to you. She sent it to me, this woman from Franklin Regional Council of Governments. Hello, here are the resources from FERCog's Franklin County Pollinator Planning Workshop today, including the slides with maps and notes. Also attached are the National Pollinator Week resources, plus the Zoom chat which contains several links and resources that we referenced in our discussion. And so they have a pollinator plan that has 8 towns in one region. The plan is to release this summer, but they're going to be continuing. And Barbara, wait a minute, I already sent this.
You
all
sent that. I was gonna say, this sounds very
10 days
familiar.
ago. 10 days ago, you all
Yeah,
got
you did
this.
send it. You did send it. So, okay, so in there, does it say what we need to do next?
Things you can do for pollinators.
Well, I mean, to
Uh,
become a part of this, Franklin
No,
County
no, it
group.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay,
It doesn't. It
Okay.
gives you the 8 towns are Bernardston, Greenfield, Shelburne, Conway, Montague, Wendell, Orange.
okay,
Yeah, I don't know how we didn't get a part of it, but
Yeah.
we just didn't know.
right, okay. So,
So
so
then,
what,
yeah,
and when they say next year, are they on a calendar year or? So when they say they would get us involved next year, is that what we're looking at?
I think we need to get a plan together to,
Okay.
that we want to be a part of it and get in
Okay.
touch with her.
Okay. Okey-doke.
So I guess our next meeting is obviously the town meeting.
Yeah,
Do we need to plan a subsequent meeting?
yes, we
Okay.
do.
All right, let me get my book.
Okay,
We have to, we're going to go to set up at town hall. What day was the setup?
what do you mean, would, to do the,
To the plotting out of the field.
what I'm going to do is tomorrow call Steve. And then talk to him about this, explain what we need, and then find out when it will next be mowed. And so that we can go up, or some, not you, Elaine, you don't get to come. Unless you, unless you're renting a wheelchair, you're not coming. It's getting more appealing, isn't it? But we could, so I'll give him a call and then just find out what the schedule is between now and the 12th, the town meeting, and we can get up there. You know, I'm fairly flexible with my time, and then easy if you were able to, if we could find a time when you can come as well, and you know, because
Yeah.
you can make something decorative. And Christine, do you want to come?
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't plan it around me, but I would
Okay.
come if I was
Oh,
able.
okay, that sounds great. All
So
right.
let me know.
I
Yeah.
sure
Just let us
will.
know, let us know what you have worked out with him.
Yeah, I will let you know tomorrow after I've gotten in touch with him. And in terms of the next meeting, we had, and I had mentioned this last time, we had decided to have our meeting on the last Tuesday of every month. And then I was away last week, and I'm away the last week in June as well. So, I don't know whether we want to, oh, no, I'm not. I take it back. June 29th is the last Tuesday in June, and I actually am here. So how is Tuesday, the 29th at 4 p.m.?
Sounds good.
Okay,
I'm sorry, June, what's the date?
29th
Okay, at 4?
at 4.
Okay.
Okay, 29th at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And maybe we could do it in person.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Out at,
Amazing.
we're going to be able to, and out at the garden.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll, great, I will, get that set up and plan an outdoor location for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have the picnic table yet.
Can I say the meeting is adjourned now because it's 4:44 and then I get to type 4:44?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
It looks so great.
Okay, so, move to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we're all, okay, great. So I will stop the recording.